Hello, and welcome back to the Variant Geek Podcast. I'm Brennan.
I'm Zach.
I'm Jason.
And, Zach, what are we doing today?
We're gonna talk about adaptations. Like movie adaptations of books, of games, game adaptations of books, and just adaptations in the media. The good ones and the bad. Mostly the bad, because there's a lot of bad. That's
You're
what
just
we're gonna talk
racist.
about.
What are you talking about?
Adaptations.
The Dragon Ball Z movie was the best movie I've never seen.
I guess, sure, we'll start there. We'll talk about anime.
No, we don't need to do that.
All of
That's
them
the
are
only
bad.
single.
That's like I don't watch them. So
The
No,
only-
I haven't watched any of them either.
Yeah.
I watched a little bit of the Full Metal Alchemist.
I
live
couldn't
action
do
one,
that. I couldn't do
and-
that to my boy.
because I hadn't watched Full Metal Alchemist yet.
I love Full Metal, so I did. I said, I want to be happy
It was
today.
rough. It was bad. The live action Netflix Death Note completely just ruins
Did you
all
watch
of
that?
the characters. No,
I did.
but I saw a little bit of what William Dafoe looks like as Ryuk. And
Yes.
He looks okay. I'll give him that. He actually looks kind of cool. Other than that, characters, just everything is just hot dog water.
Literal dog water, Dollar Tree headset for your then public restroom.
But it's just because there's so much stuff you can do with animation that you can't do with live
Well,
action.
I mean, to be fair, with animation and doing a series versus smashing it into a movie is kind of ridiculous.
And like the Attack on Titan movie, they didn't have one of the fan favorite characters in it, in Levi, who was voiced in the dub by Matthew Mercer, phenomenal person and voice actor.
I mean, this isn't necessarily an anime, but what about Avatar: The Last Airbender, the movie?
That's all. We don't need to say anything else about it. We don't need to talk about that. Like,
Move
it's
a
just one of
single rock.
it's seriously, 5 people to move a single rock with the Earthbenders or whatever it was. That's a prime example of taking something that's beautiful and making it trash.
And that man, M. Night Shyamalan, had millions and millions of dollars to do what he wanted,
Rock.
and that
One
he
rock.
gave us rock.
And
And
M. Night
Ong.
Shyamalan, good. Yes,
He gave
good.
us
But
Ong.
that movie,
Hong.
literal dog water.
Dollar
Ong.
Tree citizen.
I think Zuko's
Ong.
scar was on the wrong side too. If I'm not mistaken.
I don't know. I saw the movie
know.
once.
I don't care enough
That
to
was-
look it up even.
That was when it came out, so
I watched.
will pass.
Yeah, I watched it when it came out. Watched about half of it and then fell asleep.
correct.
Then I guess go on video game movies. Those are usually bad
Well, like,
as well.
The Witcher,
I mean,
that's a TV show,
yeah,
but it's based off a
the
book, which is based off a game,
See,
which is
TV
based off a
shows
TV show,
have
which is based off
actually
a book.
been able
Game
to
came from book.
I know.
TV shows have
They're
actually
Polish.
been able to do it well enough. I
Mhm.
mean, The Witcher adapted, the Witcher series well in the video games.
Whoa.
And I'm excited for
Castlevania.
season 2. Castlevania, I loved Castlevania. It's actually a really good. Granted, season 1's I think only like 4 episodes
Yeah.
Sure.
of like 20
Full
minutes
Metal
long.
Alchemist Brotherhood from the manga.
See, I want to be able to talk about like anime adaptations of manga, but I haven't read manga.
Look at you being a friggin' useless member of this team. Absolutely
I'm
not.
starting
like
to
literally,
watch or read some manga.
yeah.
but-
Like literally, the only manga I've really ever read was Full Metal. So that's the only thing I have anything to talk about is Full Metal. The first Full Metal animation that they did, and that leaned away from the manga, because I don't remember if it was they caught up to the manga, then they did their own thing, right? Like Game of Thrones.
With Full
What about
Metal
Game of
with Full Metal Alchemist, the first one that came out
Yes,
in 2003.
not
that was
Brotherhood.
what they did.
Yeah,
Brotherhood. they
Brotherhood
were able to
is
stay
a
with the
true
manga.
adaptation, and Brotherhood is amazing. I love Brotherhood. Oh my goodness, I cried.
I definitely cried too at the ending, especially seeing Alphonse with Winry, and just like her seeing him for the first time
Bet.
in a long, long time.
Bet.
But video game movies, one of the worst movies I have ever seen in my life. We watched, I think it was last year, Doom Annihilation.
We did.
That
The
was
Rock.
No, it was the second one.
Oh, I didn't watch that one. I watched the one with The Rock.
No, we watched the second one on Netflix. We watched it together just to see how bad it was. Yeah, we did.
And then we didn't finish it because I don't
We
even remember it.
finished it.
I must have fallen asleep.
Probably.
Because I think like one of the end guys, he comes through a portal at the end, in front of like a whole bunch of scientists. I know you were awake because I remember we watching and we pooped on it a lot.
Probably why I don't remember it because it was that bad.
It was.
Oh no, you're right because I definitely watched Doom with like The Rock and whatnot. I definitely watched that during my layover in Seattle like 2 years ago. I watched it and went, wow, that was bad.
There are some movies that are considered bad that I think are actually, not terrible. You watched Silent Hill over break, and I personally think that's actually not too bad. It's a decent adaptation of the games. Never really played them.
So
much,
like,
but
I know I've talked to you about this. I don't know if I've talked to you about this at all, Jason. But like, when I watch movies or TV shows that are from games or books and stuff like that, what I really try to do is take it as a standalone of its own thing. Especially like something like Resident Evil. I could not watch that trying to think, oh, this is going to be like the game, because anyone who knows anything about that knows it's not. And, I found I enjoy a lot of things that people don't like in that aspect. Like, for example, like you just said, Silent Hill. I did like the Silent Hill movie a lot, because I sat there and I was like, this is not the video game. This is just a movie some people are making with loose basis of reference from this, and I enjoyed it. I did, really. The CGI was literal dog water a couple of times, but you know what? That's okay. I mean, it's fine. We've come a long way in that aspect. Now, there are things that I can't do that with, like The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. Those books influenced me way too much as a kid to sit there and watch them and not be like, why are you adding
Where
this
is
elf
Tom?
lady?
Where is Tom?
Dude, Tom Bombadil.
I know
Sacrifice.
you weren't a huge fan of the Hobbit trilogy, especially compared to Lord of the Rings.
And my thing with that is not, I don't dislike the Hobbit trilogy. I do enjoy it. I will go back and watch it, absolutely. It's easily in a go-to of a top, 50 for me to watch. Just compared to Lord of the Rings, I don't think it even holds a torch to as true of an adaptation as Lord of the... Because Lord of the Rings was as true of an adaptation as it could be with the restrictions that they had. I mean, shoot. 4.5 hours almost added in the extended?
Yeah.
Something like that, from as much as they did. And they still left a decent chunk out, but nothing that was like, oh, this is terrible. You left out something extremely important to me. You know what I mean? And they added characters, sure, but nothing super frustrating. But then the Hobbit's here's Legolas, Orlando Bloom. Here's romance. This is bad. Personally, one thing I really liked about the Lord of the Rings and really respect to this day is that yes, there was CG and obviously showing the legions of orcs, but whenever you saw an orc fighting someone on screen,
it was fighting.
They were fighting on screen. That was makeup.
Mm-hmm.
That was true. Hobbit, it's all right, you're fighting this tennis ball on a stick today, and it'll get rendered in his Azog with a filer later. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was just that essence of realism was just gone. Because Lord of the Rings, that was we talked about last episode with wanting to be in a world of fantasy. Cause it's you could put yourself in that and be whoa, this would be so cool.
Mm-hmm.
It helped to do that so much more. Seeing it on screen, it was whoa, this is what I felt when reading it. This is awesome. And then I watched The Hobbit, and I'm like, why does this man look like a robot? This is not real. But that's my short version on that. No hate. I still love the Hobbit trilogy, and I'll still watch it no matter what. I mean, you guys know, I watched it with my family this last break, all of them all the way through. But, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Jason, do you have any opinions on stuff like adaptations?
Things?
Talk about Lotro
things?
and whatnot. No worries. Even though I just talked about it, talk about it.
But
if you have anything to add or dispel.
Dispel?
I don't know. Fell magics.
Fell the magics. What about things that were made as TV shows that they continued on in comic books or continued on in books? They ended the TV show, but they wanted to continue the story on. You know one, Zachary? Because I got one.
What one do you got?
It's Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh, they did continue it in a comic series.
Yeah, because
they did.
They talked about Zuko's mom.
Yeah.
They did a whole character arc of Kyoshi.
Mm-hmm. I wish they animated that. Like, as decent as Legend of Korra is, I much would have rather had, you know,
them being adults.
Them being adults and kind of going through stuff and seeing the growth of these characters after they beat Fire Lord Ozai.
Ozai. You mean Mark Hamill?
And I mean, you have a bunch of books that continue movies, especially in, you know, the Star Wars universe.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many comics and books that just continue on stories or add on to the stories to kind of just fill the world with that much more lore.
So, talking about Star Wars, you brought it up, and this isn't like continuing on as a book or as a series. This is another movie. Rogue One and Solo, as they're continuations of the sequels, kind of, but not really. But anyway, I really enjoyed Rogue One, and I really enjoyed Solo for what they were.
I liked Rogue One more than Solo, personally.
Yes, obviously.
And I know, Zach, you're the opposite.
Yeah, I love Solo.
Zach.
Especially Donald Glover as Lando Calrissian. I don't think they could have cast that any better.
What a young, Carl Weathers?
Did you just DH Carl Weathers?
But, I mean, on the topic of converting, because I think a big reason why video game movies are as bad as they are is because you're trying to convert all these experiences, these hours and hours and hours of experiences, into like a short 2-hour movie.
And a half.
It's like, okay, it's the same as like we talk about in like with theater. Like something like in Greek theater that they did was like if there was violence that happened or like some big change that happened, it happened off stage.
Mm-hmm.
And a big part of that is what an audience or, you know, a consumer can do in their imagination will far exceed anything that you can do on stage. And I think that translates to film as well. Even animation at times. Like if you sit there, like Red Dead Redemption, no one's going to have an identical playthrough. You know? Big games like that, like big story-driven games, or like Resident Evil. No one's playthrough is going to be the exact same. Like these hours that people spend are all going to differ, and they're all going to have different perceptions of stuff, and they're not all going to agree on how it translates to the screen.
Which is why shows do so much of a better job.
Because there's enough time to do it.
Yeah, there's more. There's more episodes in time.
Yeah. I mean, look at the zombie soap opera from AMC.
Oh, yeah.
Walking Dead.
How many seasons is that?
Oh my God, there's 9 on Netflix right now, I think. So there's probably, what,
10?
around 10?
I thought there was close
12?
to 12.
Because that started as a comic book, correct?
Yeah.
Yes. Graphic novel.
Excuse me. Well, have you guys seen the, not the Watchmen TV show, because I have not seen that.
Oh, read the Watchmen graphic novel?
But have you read the graphic novel or seen the movie?
I've seen about half the movie, and
yes, it's season 10. I was right.
I think in my senior English class, we were allowed to read like literally anything.
And so you read that?
No, that was one of the options we could have read. I ended up not reading the Odyssey.
Oh no! Oh no!
Because I was tossing up between Watchmen, which actually would have been so much more fun, and I probably actually would have read it, the Odyssey, and Dante's Inferno.
Interesting.
Did you choose the Odyssey?
I chose the Odyssey and didn't read the Odyssey.
The eye roll.
I mean, Dante's Inferno, the game, is actually okay.
The game, the book, you know, the allegory of human suffering.
The movie's bad.
Yeah.
The movie's bad. It also changes animation styles every time they go to a new layer of hell.
I wonder why.
That's kind of cool.
It was kind of interesting, but at the same time, some of them were like,
You know what the best video game adaptation to screen of all time is?
Hmm.
Mortal Kombat!
Oh.
I mean, they're remaking.
Okay, the remake kind of looks fire though. Have you guys seen anything on that?
I've seen some trailers for it and some pictures.
It looks like it can be cool.
It's coming out in April. And
Either
we have HBO Max, so you can watch it.
It's either gonna just look cool and be a dumpster fire, be semi-decent, or be a dumpster fire, and that's okay.
Literally, it's just get a bunch of people and have a fighting tournament. That's literally what Mortal Kombat is.
I mean, there is a huge story.
I mean,
but Mortal Kombat. I'll digress. I don't need to get into it because it doesn't matter. But
I will say, Sonic the Hedgehog was actually pretty good.
With Chris Pine.
Excuse you, that's Chris Evans. Wait, no, it is Chris Pine.
It's 100% James Marsden. And for everyone who just thinks we're absolutely the dumbest people on planet Earth for that, we just have a running thing going where we watched Sex Drive, the movie, and Zach was staring at James Marsden's in the film, and he's like, "Who is that?" And Jason's like, "That's Chris Pine," messing with him, and he's like, "Whoa, cool," and I'm like, "That's James Marsden," and he's like, "Wait a second," and it's a back and forth. So anytime any of them are in a movie, they're the other one now.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what James Marsden is. Kirk.
Captain Kirk?
Yep.
Star Trek?
No, dude, that's Chris Evans.
I thought that was Chris Hemsworth.
That's at least.
I thought it was Chris Pratt.
It's at least James McAvoy.
Excuse me, it's Sir Patrick Stewart.
Okay, we need to move on. They're like, click. Off.
Done.
But, yeah. Personally, okay. I have a very, very hard time with this one. So, World of Warcraft, they came out with the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It should not have been called, it was just called Warcraft.
Mm-hmm.
So we're fine. Because, okay, anyone who doesn't know, the Warcraft movie is not based off of the MMO RPG. It is based off of the RTS that came out a gajillion years ago, Warcraft, which is where the story started for WoW. And personally, I do believe they did a very good job with it, showing how the orcs came to Azeroth and like how there was the battle between men and orcs and why it all happened. I'm really sad that it didn't do well domestically. It did really well overseas. Like, it did really, really well in Asia. Not well enough to garner a sequel, though.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really sad about that because it did very well showing the narrative of it. The only thing I did have to say was it did drag in spots because it's a very, very lore-heavy universe that a lot of the lore is ignored by players. Like, they'll go, accept quest, leave, and don't read. Like, they don't care. They're just there to play. Like, that's very fair. I do that at times, too. So it did drag in that aspect a bit because they really tried to hit heavy on the lore. Not a whole lot. I mean, they did leave out quite a bit because, again, it's like an hour and a half, 2 hour movie that you're trying to pack hours and hours into, so it's fair. But my biggest complaint with the entire movie was the orcs. And what I mean by that, the CG was good with them on their own, like the way they moved and the way they talked, and like it was cool. It was really cool. I think, have you both watched it now?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Like, it looked good. But then when they fought the humans, it looked terrible.
It was stick.
Because like the humans, they were actually there like in full armor.
Yeah.
And then the orcs that people were like, they were CG'd in, so they're not weighed down by anything, and they're just flowing around, and you had these really chunky moving humans fighting these friggin' acrobat orcs, and it looked funky. But other than that, I enjoyed it a lot. And I mean, there's all kinds of WoW books, comic series now. I mean, shoot, there's a couple of games too that I want to get small. Have you ever played Small World?
Mm-mm.
Well, there's Small World. There's a World of Warcraft Small World now.
Okay.
And I really want to play that. But yeah, like there's all kinds like that too. Like with like games like Warhammer, started as a tabletop, and now there's books, comics. There's a movie. It's very bad. All kinds of fan stuff, and there's so many things that you can talk about with adaptations. It starts as this, and now it's everything.
Yeah, and I mean, like a movie that, you know, I thought was a good adaptation, like going off with you with Warcraft, that got received really poorly was The Prince of Persia. I actually really enjoyed that movie.
I did not.
It was
I never
fun.
saw it.
It has Ben Kingsley in it.
It has
and Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
And I actually thought it was kind of fun.
I always wanted to see it, but then I remember hearing like just how bad it was.
And I guess a big question is Vikander or Jolie as Lara Croft?
I don't care. I've never watched them.
You haven't seen a single Tomb Raider?
No, I don't really want to.
The only one I know is Angelina Jolie. The
That's
only one I remember.
The only one that I've seen stuff from is Jolie.
Yeah. The only one I remember. Because
Here's the big question. We can't answer it.
that was too big a question. Bring it down. But so, because I saw it on Zach's phone, the Pokemon series that started in 1990. Was it 8? Was it 6?
9?
Maybe. But
Anyway, talk.
The first season where Ash is
97.
97. Okay.
U.S. was 98.
Okay.
South Korea 99.
So
yes.
yes. But because that was kind of based off of the game, I mean, Ash is still 10 years old.
He's in a coma. I am a stan for that theory. Have you guys heard that?
Yes.
I mean, I saw Matt Pat's theory about what age he should be. Right about he should be, I think, almost at least in his 20s, if not older.
Are you talking like from when it started
from
to
when
now?
It starts to when he just recently won his first ever title.
I mean, it's been about 25 years.
30 years.
30 years, and he was 10, so it's 35.
But I will say a movie that I'm really interested in, because it's actually going to my understanding, be an actual true adaptation of the game, is the new Resident Evil movie coming out.
Who's in that?
So you have Kaya Scodelario as Claire Redfield. You have Tom Hooper as Albert Wesker.
Okay. Neil McDonald.
Robbie Amell as Chris Redfield. And
Evan
Jogia as Leon Kennedy.
Okay.
So I mean, it's actually going to have characters from the games in the movie. How well it's going to do,
we'll see.
We'll find
Remains
out.
to
It's
be
supposed
seen.
to come out in September, so we'll see if
Man,
that happens.
I'm hoping. I have high hopes.
Gotta have high hopes.
And we're canceled.
Oh no!
Dang it.
But have you guys seen the Pokemon Detective?
I did like
Pikachu?
Detective. I think
I
we talked
liked
about
it.
it a little bit.
I had fun. It was
I
a good
enjoyed
movie.
it.
And I love the CGI was really well done.
It's pretty good.
Let's see.
You could tell what they really spent time on
Yeah.
versus what they didn't. Like obviously Mewtwo, they spent 18 billion years on him, making him perfect.
Perfect. I mean, Ryan Reynolds is Pikachu and will always be Pikachu.
Yes, but he is my king.
That is just Deadpool as Pikachu.
I mean, you have your classic adaptations in comics to movies, but I haven't really read that many comics, so I can't really say too much about it.
This man calls himself a nerd.
This man
Yes,
says...
I am a nerd. Bookworm, I'm studious. From my cerebral cortex
And
to
now
my gluteus.
they just copyright claim this.
Yes, they did.
I mean, credit to Written Link. So...
We're good now.
But, have you seen, Smallville, the TV show?
I never really got into
I
it.
haven't seen it. I know it's still airing, or at least having new episodes.
No.
It's very done.
No.
Oh, I'm thinking of Riverdale.
Yes, you are.
What in the heck? Why are you getting Riverdale and Smallville?
It's Archie Comics.
Yeah.
But, again, I don't really know. They have, characters like Doomsday, Lois Lane, Superman, Aquaman, The Flash,
Cowboy.
I do know that, to my understanding,
I mean,
the Flash... Have either of you guys seen Flash?
like the TV show?
Yes.
Most of it, kind of.
So did you watch, I think it's season 3, it's the Flashpoint
Yes.
episode. That, I know some people weren't too happy about that.
Are you talking about the musical episode?
I think it's like literally the first, because he goes back to save his mom.
Yes.
And then everything changes.
Yeah.
And then, because apparently, because there's a movie that should be coming out in the future called Flashpoint, which covers Flash, because he goes back and saves his mom.
Does it have the same actors?
It's going to have...
Grant Gustin?
No, the other one that played him in Justice League.
Oh, my word.
Ezra Miller.
Yeah.
Or Urza Miller.
Ezra.
And basically, he goes, and then, I think we're going to be seeing, I think Michael Keaton's going to be in it, playing Batman.
Interesting.
Not Christian Bale. Ben Affleck's going to be playing Batman.
The Batflack? Well, so...
Because Bruce Wayne is the one who dies in the alley.
Bruce Wayne's Bruce Wayne?
Bruce Wayne is Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne's the one that dies in the alley, and his dad ends up becoming Batman, and his mom becomes the Joker.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman and Aquaman hate each other now, and so those two countries are constantly fighting.
Is that like the Gal Gadot and Jason Momoa?
Superman ended up crash landing in a city and has been stuck underground in government facilities his entire life.
Same.
But I mean, it could. I think hopefully that is a good true adaptation of it.
Is that the Suicide Squad edition of these these characters, or like the Batman versus Superman, or like Superman Man of Steel? Is it that universe?
Yeah, I think it's the DCEU. Yes.
Okay.
Because it's supposed to be Flash's solo film.
But kind of going off of that, but do you remember watching the like cartoon animated Super Friends TV show, like Justice League?
Yes, I do remember seeing that, and yeah, it was actually pretty good. I actually did like Young Justice too.
I did too.
I thought it was actually pretty good. I think it's on HBO Max too.
What about Teen Titans?
The original Teen Titans.
Teen Titans Go is a dumpster fire.
Teen Titans Go is,
and they know it's a dumpster fire.
And the new Powerpuff Girls is a dumpster fire. New Ben 10 is a dumpster fire. Stop rebooting them, Cartoon Network. This is a plea for help from the people of God and country. Please stop. We don't want it anymore. Let it be as it was. We don't need it anymore. And kind of going off what you guys said with the superheroes, I never really got into a whole lot of those TV shows. I was never super into Arrow, Punisher. I literally have never watched Punisher once.
I like
Punisher's
Daredevil,
never watched it. The only thing I've watched, which wasn't Marvel or DC or anything like that, was I watched Heroes.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was an adaptation from a book.
Yeah, I think so.
Was it not?
I think so.
I enjoyed that a lot.
I remember being frustrated with it.
Yes.
When I watched it. But I could not tell you what happens in it.
No, dude, I couldn't either. I'd have to rewatch it. That's like the closest thing.
It's got Milo Ventimiglia in it. It's got...
Mila Kunis?
No.
I forgot about her.
It's Family Guy. And also that 70s show.
Okay, sure.
I can't think of... Doesn't matter.
I mean, you have one of the biggest adaptations of all time in the Harry Potter movies.
What? They made those into movies?
I know, right? Crazy.
Ooh. One thing, I just had a core memory from Heroes. Masaoka as Hiro Nakamura.
Yes.
That's the only thing I remember from that show, because I liked his name.
Yes.
Anyway.
But going back to the Harry Potter movies, I'm going to...
I gotta go do my taxes.
Oops.
My favorite thing from the Goblet of Fire is literally...
Did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire?
Book. Did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire? Dumbledore asked calmly. Movie. Did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire or not?
Starts yelling and chasing after Harry's shaking him. The movies I thought were okay. I actually liked the movies.
See,
I only read up to... I think I only read the first 2 books.
See, I've read all 7 books.
Same.
And I
had no life.
I loved the books. I loved how they ended, how like the stories that were in them. It was like I wanted to go to Hogwarts, and then seeing the movies and up to the 5th movie, and I remember watching the 5th movie and going like, that's not in the book. That's not in the book. And then like, what happened to this section of the book? What happened to this section of the book? And then being like, well, we're done here.
That's how I was with the Hunger Games.
Oh,
I hate it. I honestly do not like the movies. I don't think they're very good. And they're not really close to the books, in my opinion.
What? The Hunger
Games.
Oh, yeah. No, the first one was okay, and then they just kind of went off the deep. Same with Maze Runner. I was gonna say, like... I liked the Maze Runner. I liked it, and then, Is Scorch Trials second?
Yes.
I enjoyed it, and then Death Cure, and then I went, meh. I never watched Death Cure.
Like, the book... The first book is really good. The second one was, like, okay.
It literally was the same as the movies.
Yeah, the third one I was like, what just happened?
I was like, am I on drugs?
Is this a fever dream?
It was insane. Yeah.
But
I mean, it was not the best.
I mean, you have some of the best video game adaptations of movies of all time in the Lego games.
You are not wrong.
Dude, Lego Batman was actually a really good movie.
Yeah?
Lego movie?
I have never seen it. I saw the Lego movie. I have not seen Lego Batman.
It's so funny.
Darkness.
My name is Dick, and they call me that at school or whatever. He says, well, kids can be cruel.
My favorite is like when someone makes some stupid like potty humor, and then just hearing my man, my king, in the background, Batman going, in the back, because he's 7 years old.
It's Will Arnett.
Will Arnett. My king. My
Your
BoJack king.
In the games, dialogue or no dialogue?
No dialogue, dude.
I was
Grunts.
gonna say, they are...
Oh. There's a reason they're going back to it.
Yes.
They know what they did wrong.
You're telling me the Lego Batman 3, the Lego Marvel Superheroes, Lego Marvel Superheroes 2, Lego Jurassic World?
They're Legos, they can't talk!
Literally, the one thing that has brought me the most pain in the last, 3 months was my brother, first of all, playing Lego Star Wars Force Awakens, but hearing, BB-8, we have to go! I'm going to jump off of a bridge now, just listening to Daisy Ridley's voice. I was like, coming out of a Lego.
And, she wonders why it's so hard for her to get a job. It's because she's a bad actress.
My favorite thing is, have you seen the interview about why Juju Abrams, J.J. Abrams, have you seen that?
Jar Jar Abrams?
Jar Jar Abrams, Juju Abrams, all of them. Why he hired her.
Oh, crap. You told me about this
once. Yeah, he's sitting there, he's like, one of the most powerful auditions I've ever had in my entire life was Daisy's. We were having her read through the interrogation scene with Kylo, and she cried, and I was like, wow.
Wow.
Good job. He cried.
You can cry.
And he's like, it was so good. Dun 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 da 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 da. Just, oh my lord. So bad.
What about John Boyega?
They set it up for him to be the Jedi, and then they're like, nah.
No, your whole entire character will be, Rey! I need to tell you something! Rey! And not getting cut in half when he should have.
He did the man
I will
dirty.
say Adam Driver did okay.
Adam Driver carried anything that was good in that series.
Did you hear about him? He had to go to the hospital. He hurt his back carrying those movies.
He needed a full transplant. Full spinal transplant.
Spun said,
he's actually a good actor.
He's good. I've never really seen anything of his that I didn't enjoy.
Oh, okay. Have you seen Black Klansman?
Yes. He was really good in that.
He was.
I really want to see... I've been told it's not very good, but I really want to see Dead Don't Die just because of him.
I had to rewatch it again because I fell asleep during it.
I was going to say, I saw the ad for it.
And I went, ha.
And I went, this looks like a dumpster fire. I have to see it.
I have to see it. Llama getting who? Inhuman witch?
Not Zilla.
Okay, not Zilla at least looked like it was good because
they
know they weren't good.
Jesus Christ, Vampire Hunter.
The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. That looks so bad.
Yes.
Vampires don't fear the sun.
The killer sofa. Dead silence.
It looks so terrible.
It's
Orcs.
a killer sofa. Orcs.
It's like killer orcs. They paint things red because it makes it go fatter.
I mean,
But-
have you ever seen a purple orc?
Didn't think so. Oh my gosh, what else?
I'm trying to think.
I know, like we've hit all the we've
adaptations.
trashed on the main stuff.
You're gonna trash on the non-main stuff.
I mean, in terms of good adaptations, I mean,
So few.
in video games of movies, Alien Isolation, I've heard, is actually a lot of fun and pretty good. It's kind of like Outlast, but
Yeah.
you can actually defend yourself a little bit.
Bet.
And honestly, I'd be scared more of a xenomorph than I would. I don't know.
No, you wouldn't. I'd be more afraid of a.
Those big guys have some.
I would be more afraid of a
And
naked.
it's-
I'd be way more afraid of a naked insane asylum patient that had just murdered the ever living bejesus out of the guards. Now are chasing you naked throughout its halls when you can't
Why are
defend
they
yourself. I'd be more
naked?
scared. I don't know. Ask the guys that made Outlast.
Blair Witch.
I thought you said that made out last. I said, who made out last? Because I'm tired.
Blair Witch, I've heard, is a really bad movie. And we played the game for what, like an hour, and then got bored.
It was starting to get good and then Sal turned it off.
I'm afraid when people don't label their food correctly. The Office, Michael Scott, the Blair Witch Office.
Yes.
There's two animated movies of Dead Space that are not terrible. The second one's worse than the first one, in my opinion. I don't think they actually have anything to do with Isaac Clarke, except I think at the end of the second one, they go through all the bodies in cryo storage, and you just see Isaac Clarke written across it, and you're like, hey, that's neat.
You said name.
What about an adaptation of a game from another game? Apex Legends from Titanfall.
What are... what do you mean, like a video
The
game
same
adaptation?
guns, the background in the comics.
So just kind of like expanding on the...
Yeah, I'm just kind of trying to fill that air, but like, I'll talk real quick about the Warhammer 40,000 movie, Ultramarines. You can watch it all on YouTube for free, with no ads. That says enough already. Oh my gosh, the CGI is bad, and look it up right now. Look up who's in the cast, like voice actor wise.
Is it
Warhammer.
on IMDb?
Yeah, it should be Ultramarine. I think. There's one voice actor at least in that cast that you're gonna be like, what? How is it bad?
Terrence Stamp, John Hurt, Sean Pertwee. Really?
Yep.
That
Abysmal.
is who I'm thinking it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sean No, I thought Sean Pertwee was. Okay, it is Alfred Pennyworth.
Yeah.
John Hurt. Oh.
Well, Mark Strong.
It has a phenomenal cast. It is voice acted well. It just looks horrible. I watched it with my brother over break, and Brody did not pay attention, and I don't blame him. I don't really know what to say about it. I don't know. It was just an adaptation I thought about. Good adaptations out of the Warhammer universe from the tabletop was Warhammer translating into the video game side of things with Vermintide.
Vermintide was fun. I enjoyed it.
I mean, it's a Left 4 Dead clone,
Yeah.
or not Left 4 Dead. Wait,
Yeah.
Left 4 Dead. It's a Left 4 Dead clone, and that's okay. It's fun. I'm excited for Darktide.
Yeah.
That should be good.
That's kind of like horde mode, right?
It's with guns.
And I mean, gosh, I'm really trying to think of video games that branched off of. I mean, Pokemon branched off of the card game. And I mean, we talked a lot about that in our top 10
Wasn't it the
episode.
100% was reverse what you just said.
I thought the video game came out before the card or after the card game. The card.
I don't know.
I'm
thought it
pretty
was
sure.
being done.
Because we talked. when did the Pokemon card game come out?
Why are you doing this to me, you stupid phone?
Okay.
Yeah, the games 100% came first with Red and Green in '96.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, because the card game also came out in '96.
But they came first. The game came first.
Or
They probably released simultaneously.
They pushed it out at the same time.
Nice try.
Got it. Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the anime adaptation of it is... Yeah,
Dude, your volume is gone right now.
the anime adaptation of it is... It's okay. I mean, the first season was cool, I guess, and then I stopped watching, and there's so much of it out there. I'm like, okay.
Okay, boomer.
It's there.
Have you seen the... Are we talking about Pokemon still?
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry, because we looked it up. The first Pokemon movie with Mew and Mewtwo,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
which I believe is called Mewtwo Returns.
I think, yeah.
Do you remember that?
I do.
Did that shape your childhood?
I enjoyed it a lot. I probably watched it at least once a week for a
lot.
long time.
A lot. Do you know what happens in it?
It's been a long time since
Basically,
I've seen
take the first season of Kanto, smash it into a shorter version, and add some Mews.
Well, I mean, like, also, it's like 2 of every animal, kind of Noah's Ark-esque.
Yeah.
And then, like, Ash turns into a stone.
Mm-hmm.
And then Pikachu cries on
Pikachu's
Ash.
like,
And then Ash comes back. And we have literally jumped the entire movie and ruined the ending.
tough.
But do you remember the second one with the like Ho-Oh and Lugia and the 3?
I bought my little brother 2 Christmases ago a steelbook with those movies in it, like the first 3.
Yeah.
All of those. Watched all of them. They got him hooked on Pokemon, so whoops.
That's your own doing there, bud.
Dude, he has everything. I don't even know, like, I don't know what games he's even missing. Because he got Heart Gold for Christmas. He got, like, original...
that's expensive. My brother tried to find one, and he's like, it's expensive.
Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, I remember that one.
Decent Hellboy.
Yeah.
The first... I didn't really like the David Harbour Hellboy as much.
I never saw that.
As I liked
You're a David Harbour fanboy, though.
As much as I liked the Ron Perlman Hellboy.
I've never seen any.
I also loved Doug Jones. I think that's his name.
You're talking about like the
guy who plays Abe.
Yes.
And he does a lot of stuff for Guillermo del Toro.
Yes, you're correct.
Man deserves an Oscar, and will never get one.
Excuse you.
Tough. You know what the greatest adaptation of all time is? I think we could probably get close to wrapping it up because we're starting to stagnate. The Mario Brothers movie.
Are you talking about like the old
90s one?
The greatest film of all time.
That's just a fever dream. It doesn't exist.
No,
and the animated show.
It don't exist.
That animated show. Oh, that's so old.
Wait, is that where we see Toadstool take off his head?
Yes.
Take off the toadstool? Do you prefer your Goombas?
No. Cut or uncut, G.
Like a cut, G?
Anything else anyone wants to throw in? Because, I mean, we've kind of hit all the bases.
I was 100% going to say something.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. Yep. Oh, sorry. Never mind. I thought you were going off of what he had just said.
No. It was before I brought up Hellboy, and I was 100% going to be like, oh yeah, this was an adaptation of something. Then I just...
It's gone.
It ran.
It has
Game of Thrones.
Been there.
Oh yeah. Up to season 7. Like,
I'd even argue like 6. It started to get kind of
I mean,
rushed.
When did the book end? Was that season 5?
It's not.
No, I meant like when was the book finished and the story kept moving on?
Was it 5 or was it 6?
6.
Was it when they brought? Because was it when they brought Jon Snow back? Was that when they started the
Spoiler.
If you haven't seen Game of Thrones by now, that's on you.
I'm looking it up, so talk.
Plus, I mean, we talked about the Battle of the Bastards the other day.
Yes.
Two bastards that are famous.
Yeah, end of the 5th season it caught up.
You're a bastard. Wait.
Like, just what happened to Ramsay Bolton at the end
So
of the
good.
episode was just so fulfilling.
It was one of the only satisfying, like, villain deaths in that whole show. Because Joffrey deserved way worse.
Yeah.
I mean, it was funny.
Fall off the fucking...
He got poisoned.
No, he got poisoned, and, like, he turned all blue and shit and vomited.
Oh, yeah.
And then died. His brother is the one that said, "Whee!" out the window, which was so funny.
With Marjorie.
Well, Marjorie blew up, because she was in the set.
I thought she dove out. I thought she fell out, too.
No.
I was pretty sure she fell out.
No, she didn't. You're wrong. You're dumb. Anyway, because the Sept of Baelor blew up, because Cersei had it blown up with the wildfire or whatever it is.
That green fire.
Yeah, because they were having a trial in there, and she blew everyone up, including his... That's why he jumped out the window. Because it blew up his wife, and he said, "Whee!" out the window. I'm right.
You are right.
But, I mean, credit to... I don't know the actor's name right offhand, but who acted Joffrey and who acted Ramsay, because they did well at making you hate their characters.
Even Greyjoy. Theon.
Yeah.
For a while. I hated him.
I mean, oh god, why can't I think of her name right now? Oops, Cersei. Cause she's in 300 too, and I cannot remember her name.
Hadley?
Yeah.
She's in Fighting in the Family?
Fighting with My Family.
I
like that movie.
Yeah, actually, Game of Thrones up to season 7 had hits.
6 was okay. Had some really good stuff.
8 was just a dumpster fire.
8,
they rushed it too hard.
They rushed it and they ruined so much build up.
Especially, like, I was hoping, as much as I didn't want to see characters die, I was hoping so many more characters would die when they fought.
Dude, they should have! Are you kidding me? Yeah, when the Night King showed up with his bagajillion unyielding zombie boys. Are you kidding me? You really crapped your pants on that one, studio. Because let me tell you what, you failed. You killed like 3 people and a dragon. You suck.
And then Arya Stark just popped out of nowhere.
So dumb. It was such stupid fanfare. She said, and threw a dagger at him. My mom's like, "Oh, great, amazing." And I'm like, "Mom, I love you, but this is terrible." But she does love Arya, so yes, I bought her a Pop Funko of the Night King with Arya's dagger in. And the fact that man got such crazy build-up and didn't really do anything.
I would definitely, I would consider rewatching that show, because I haven't watched the first at least like 4 seasons in a long time.
I have all of it in my room.
And they're all on HBO Max, too.
Well, yes.
But, I mean, it's a good series. Have you watched it, Jason, or much
The Game of Thrones?
Yes.
You know how many episodes I've seen?
How many episodes?
I have seen The Red Wedding. I have seen the episode where Cersei blows up.
The Sept.
The Sept. I have seen, like, an episode in Season 7, and I have seen 2 episodes in Season 8.
The fact that The Red Wedding was the first episode you saw ruined so much.
All the build-up for the first 3 seasons is for that point. Okay.
Literally, people are dying, and I'm like,
who?
Whomst is this man's? Why is his wife pregnant?
Dude, that was gross.
I was
like, whoa! I'm 12!
What is happening? I had heard of The Red Wedding, because I didn't start watching it until a few years after it came out. I think I was like 16, 17 when I started watching Game of Thrones. And I heard of The Red Wedding. I knew something happened, but I mean, that was just oof.
My mom cried.
Really? At The Red Wedding?
Yes. She literally cried. There was some...
a lot of characters died.
Yeah. There was because I deleted the video out of respect for my mother, but I recorded her on Snapchat, and as soon as it started, because the guy comes up, pulls a knife, and starts plunging it into Rob's wife, and my mom went, "No!" And then it kept happening. She's like, "We put it in!" and then they pulled the big meanie weenie and shot his wolf.
Mm-hmm.
That was
his dire wolf, and my mom literally got up and left. She's like, "I don't want to watch it anymore." And then she came back.
I feel so bad for because of this show, for huskies and dogs that look like those dire wolves, because that was like the only reason a lot of people got those kinds of dogs was because they look like direwolves.
And then they live in Arizona.
Yeah.
And it's like, brother.
Do
you have a cold chamber for your dog?
I have something to tell you guys, but this will be after, about huskies and... But...
Anyway.
But, I mean, does anybody else have anything else to...
Not really.
To share,
I mean, I think we might as well end it on that kind of high-ish note of good conversation with Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I would say that's definitely a peak of adaptations. Especially with stuff that take a lot of hours, like reading books and games, I think shows are the best way to...
I think television
those.
shows or animation is probably one of the best vessels to do adaptations. Because like we had said, like the problem with movies is there's so much to pack into such a short span of time. Even if you're trying to do like a series, because one of the greatest adaptation series money making wise of all time. I mean, obviously the Marvel franchise.
Mm-hmm.
And yet there's so much that hasn't been covered.
Yeah.
And they've made billions off of it, and it's like, oh, this is so amazing, and there's so much that isn't in it yet.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just one of those things, like, you take, like, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, it's like cover to cover, boom, in there, done. But movies, it's just, they're so much harder to make because you're not working with, voice actors and, animation. You're working with live actors and set and crew and all kinds of different aspects. So it's just so much more expensive to make.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah.
I mean, no hate on voice actors and stuff.
Oh,
especially the animators. Like some of those animators do such good.
Well,
work.
I wasn't hating. I'm just saying,
yeah.
The cost wise is why it makes more sense to do that.
I mean, that's why Seven Deadly Sins was so bad in its animations because they couldn't afford it. They could not afford to animate that much. So good animation costs a lot, but it definitely does cost a lot of money and a lot of time and effort.
It's not
easy with a short time span.
There's nothing in the entertainment industry that's easy to do, really, except, I guess produce.
But
if you're already rich.
I think we'll call
it on that one. Thank you for tuning in this week.
Yeah, and if you guys want to check us out on Twitch, the link will be in the description. And
they're marked for mature streams.
And we'll see you guys next week.